Cybertron must be stopped, no matter the cost.
Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about the Magic Square Light of Peace MS-02TC. This is supposed to be the toy version. It's kind of a metallic version. They did make a metallic version. They did make a more or less standard version. This is the third version of this mold I've taken a look at, and I have to say I like the mold. But does this stack up to the other ones? Is this one better than them, worse than them? And I'm going to go ahead and take this opportunity to compare it to pretty much all the Optimus Primes I have in the Masterpiece. You probably will see that on the thumbnail, but I did get this at Show Z. I'll have a link down below where you get your TH reviewer code. They're still in stock right now. Sometimes in our review, these MP Primes from Magic Square, they're sold out by the time I get the review up, but this time it's not. Anyway, let's get in and take a look at this guy coming up. Here's the box, and looks pretty good. The side, the back. It actually feels like a really cheap box. You got tech specs reminiscent. Doesn't feel super G1, but gets the job done for a low price point Masterpiece Optimus Prime. All right, so taking a look at him, I have to admit that top to bottom, he is very striking. The colors on him look fantastic. And it's kind of one of those things that you have to decide, there's two things. Do you like or not like the tampographs, which I don't think they're stickers. I think they're tampographs on the forearms and the knees. And are you okay with the silver? That's really the only two questions, because every other aspect of this is fantastic. It looks really good. And I guess also the feet have tampographing on them too. So it looks really, really nice. And it does have a metallic look. It does have a nice reflective sheen to it. Now, it's not as shiny as one of the ones that I have that Magic Square's already made. And I think they're not going to do that kind of paint ever again. I think they're going to go this route, which it does have a good shine, a sheen. I've heard some people talking about they're infusing their plastic with the paint instead of painting it afterwards, so that maybe if it gets a scratch, it won't be as noticeable as if it was painted. That was what some people were saying. I don't know how true that is, but he does look really, really good. And the other iterations look good too, which is kind of why I'm torn about which one I like the most. By the end of this video, I will tell you which iteration I like the most, and I will show that off. But yeah, very solid. Let's go ahead and get into the articulation, but that's a nice looking head too. So you got some side to side on a... Yeah, it just goes side to side. I didn't really notice that in the other ones. That you can move it over, you can move it back, and then up and down. So it's not just a ball joint. It might be a small dog bone in there. I've never popped his head off, so I'm not really sure. You got the shoulder out to here. He can do the Saturday Night Live, whatever, special. And then he can do the super butterfly. So if you want to get like a gun pose or something, the butterfly is a big deal these days, so you can get these kinds of poses going on. Look at all that shine. Look at all that shine. Okay, you got bicep swivel. You do have the it's not a double jointed elbow, which I thought, what was I thinking, that it was a double jointed elbow? Am I just not on the right point? Yeah, okay, it is a double jointed. So I just had that all mixed up trying to get that butterfly. Yeah, it is a double jointed elbow, because I've always thought it was. And then the hands, so let's splay them out. If you see any paint on my hands, I'm actually literally going to be painting. Stop painting something, did this video, I'm going to be painting more vintage stuff up to make it look good. So I've got a 1 point of articulation, 2 on the thumb, 1, 2 on each finger. They feel a little loose. They're not real like super tight, but they'll hold the pose that you need. Just they feel fragile. I've never broke one though. This is my third one I've had, and never broke one of the fingers. You got the waist swivel, an extreme ab crunch. Well, you know, you can do all that because of the transformation. They've always had that engineered in. You do have hip flaps that hide with it, which is nice. And then it goes to the back as far as you see right there. And then you've got thigh swivel. Okay, let's reset that. And that thigh swivel. Knee double jointed, which is nice, and love the chrome right here. And then the toe, the foot, rocker side to side, little toe tilt down, little toe tilt up. Pretty much everything you would need. I don't get that dynamic with my figures. I do get a few fun, crazy poses, but not super dynamic. For the accessories, this is the third time I've reviewed it, so third time I've said this, but I love how they did this. I don't want to hide the hand and have to do a whole bunch of nonsense. So to make this two parts that just literally clip together, and you have his energy axe. And honestly, I've never displayed them with an energy axe. They go straight back into the box, but it's super obligatory, something you seem to have with an Optimus Prime. But to me, I feel it's kind of unnecessary from one episode. But it's still fun to have, and I'm glad they did it this way. I'm getting into the gimmicks, and I'm not really quite sure why this isn't exactly tabbed right. Opening this up, and then opening this up, and you have the chamber. Now, I will admit that that was smooth, and that was easy. I just like how easy it is to get into the Matrix, and the Matrix comes out and all that. I don't want to mess with all that, the third go around, but yeah, very nice. I mean, just really does feel, this feels a little more metallic than the metallic going on in here, and that's chrome all in there too. Then when you close it up, you want to close them at the same time so they kind of overlap and clip to each other. The other thing, it's not a gimmick, but I do want to point out that with this one, you're getting, and we're going to compare all of them, but you got the stripe on the side, and that stripe is going to carry over into the alt mode. And I mean, really, that's the only real difference you'll notice in alt mode, but pretty nice overall. All right, so we are going to compare this guy to all these other primes. I'm going to go in chronological order so you can kind of see him compared to starting with MP10 all the way up to the modern iterations, and you can get a good idea if this one is for you. And I think comparisons are the most important part of reviews, and it's been a while since I pulled them all out, so whip them all out. Alright, so let's get into comparison to the G1, and as you can see, the G1 it's very similar. Actually, the sticker on this G1, maybe it was put on wrong or something, but it's backwards. Then you have the sticker down here, and then you have stickers down there, and yeah. Kind of cool, matches up really well, except maybe the kid put the stickers on the wrong way right there. And then I do want to do a quick gun comparison to the G1 so that you can see. Can you see that? Can you see the gun comparison? G1 gun, very, very close. Very good. All right, so we have the Mag-10 Megatron MP36, which is my favorite version of the KOs of the MP36. In fact, favorite of all MP36s, because he is a little shinier. But as you can see, like the shininess and sheen is similar for these two. They look really good together. All right, first comparison is MP10. Now I don't have a loose MP10 anymore. It's a long story, but a lot of people complain about how long MP10's arm is. So as you can see, MP10's arm goes down pretty far. And people try to argue that, oh, that's normal. And then some people are like, that's just way too long. Truck, not monkey, guys. And here we go with, that just feels a little bit more right. But, I mean, I guess it's up to everybody's own individual opinion. All right, here it is next to the Transform Element. And I got to say that when the Transform Element came out, I didn't think it was going to be the greatest one. But I was highly impressed. It does some stuff like lights up right there. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So it's a pretty good option too, but side by side, I still like this one better. I do like the white paint. I feel like it's more screen accurate, but I guess you could say the silver feels more like a bot, right? Then we have the Magic Square 1.0. Magic Square 1.0 was a good one, but I felt it was a bit too bulky. As you can see, this is a little leaner. It's not way leaner, it's a little leaner, and it feels like it hits the aesthetics a little bit more, this new 2.0. But there's a lot of people that are still very satisfied with the 1.0. Here's our 1.0, the white one, which was considered an Ultra Magnus by a lot of people. And I was kind of hoping that we would get an Ultra Magnus in like armor add-on for him. But I always felt like he was so bulky. How bulky would an Ultra Magnus added on to this be? And then you kind of think, since this is slimmer and sleeker on the 2.0, that it seems like it'd be a better option to get some Ultra Magnus armor on a 2.0 body. Possible one day, maybe. Here's the 1.0 that they painted in metallic paint. This was the metallic 2.0, so they made a metallic one that I wasn't really very fond of, and then they made this one that was super shiny. And I've been trying to chase something this shiny again. If they did this with this paint, obviously I would pick it up again, but it scratches real easy. It possibly chips. I never transformed it, and I worry about scratches on this guy, and I can just kind of see stuff right there already, and I barely do anything with him, and he's got a few scratches on him. So there's pluses and minuses to this high level of high gloss paint, but I think they're getting away from it, and I haven't seen them do much with it since. And here is the MP44 with the similar type of color scheme as this, and with this, as you know, you could push this down further and clip it in. I don't like that because it's really hard to unclip if you want to do much more with it. I push it down a little bit deeper into it, but as you can see, the aesthetic, the 3.0 Takara MP44, it's like their third attempt at a prime, was a good one. It's still a great one, but looking at these side by side, and these with the similar color schemes, the Magic Square one, I think, is just a more tuned design. It's just cleaner and smoother and way easier to transform. Then we get into modern day with Magic Square and their 2.0. Now, I was a critic of this. I was a critic before they even came out, and I have to say that I didn't like that back piece, which you barely even see it on camera now, but the pictures, it just looked like it was overwhelming. I don't know if they scaled the back piece down a bit before they put it out or what, but I don't even notice it really in hand anymore. But everything else about it looks great. Now, this is the second version they put out, I think, the one that has still the white legs, but it's got a shinier paint job to it, or shinier plastic than the original. The original one's pretty matte finish. And out of all these, this looks fantastic. I still kind of like the white a little bit better, but they're both great options if you're in on one of these. I kind of would like the deeper blue. Then this is a lighter blue, and that's a darker blue. I kind of like that darker blue, which is kind of what when we see in the past that like Takara goes a little bit darker on the blues, and but with the white legs, that would be awesome. If I could have this whole figure aside from the paint, which I don't mind the paint decals, but have it with white on the legs, that would be awesome. So this one's still my favorite. For the second time, and because it's the third time I've reviewed this, obviously I'm not going to show a transformation on it. There's no need for it, and I don't really want to mess up and scratch any of this that's going on with this. This is the first one that came out, and this is what the alt mode looks like. I will put a picture on the screen up here about what the new one looks like, but the big difference is that you have that stripe that's going to go around the side. You can see it right there, but it's going to be a stripe on it, and that's the big difference, is the stripe on the cab right about here, and that's the only real difference between the two. That and the fact that this is just a deeper red, if you can see it, and a deeper blue, if you can see it. So that's really the only difference with it, but it's very, very clean. Let's look at it at a comparison. Here it is compared to the Takara, and although I love the MP44, we have to admit that this mode is not the greatest, and this is the KO, so that's probably part of why I can't get this to stay in place right. But it's kind of a jumbled mess in the back, the Takara one. Yeah, but not a big deal. In this one here, it's just cleaner all around in both modes. And yeah, you could say I could sit here and tighten this one back up, but yeah, it's cleaner in both modes than the MP44. Not really sure about like all the other ones like MP10 and all that, but I do like this design the most in both modes. Now, I do want to be transparent. I do like this mold, but I've bought every iteration. The first one I had came with a broken smokestack, and it took me, I think, 2, maybe 3 months to get a replacement part, but I did fix it. It came with a whole extra arm. Now, that's not going to be guaranteed that it's going to happen to everyone if you have a problem with a Magic Square item, but they made it right. Show Z made it right. It came from Show Z, so I guess the factory sends it to Show Z, and Show Z forwards it on to us. I'm not sure exactly how all that works, But I want to say that I was impressed. Now, other people said they just got the smokestack. Some people say they just got something else. Maybe they ran out of smokestacks and then they had to go to assembled parts that they had laying around. So I was the latest to the game, and so I got that. I don't know. But I will say I am thankful that they made it right. But I'm not without issues on this figure. I can't say that it was perfect from day one, and I can't say everyone is going to be perfect. Your experience might be different than mine, but they made it right. And I mean, I think that's a big thing. Fanstoys does it. I hear X-Transbots does it. I've never really gotten an X-Transbots part, but that's a good thing with Magic Square, and I like that. All right, so what do I think about this toy version of Optimus Prime? I think he looks fantastic. I do like the metallic look to him, and the deeper, darker blues all over really make him pop, and the deeper, darker reds, and the shiny sheen to him. We already know that this design was my favorite, and I've been enjoying it. Now, he's not very heavy. There's no die cast, or if there is, there's very little. And he's built relatively well. It's pretty solid, pretty simple transformation overall. Looks pretty good from every single angle. I prefer the white legs versus the silver, but with this release, this is what's out right now, and I don't know if they'll put this mold back out again with more G1 style, or if they're just going to start going into different colors like the whites and the blacks and the all the different purple and other color variations that they've done in the past. I'm not 100% sure what they do next, but all I know right now is that this one is available at Shozy. I do have a link down below. I'm extremely happy that I picked this one up, and I'm not into buying every single Prime that's out, but I'm still searching for that super bright paint job. We might not see that again. This probably is as close as we're going to get to what we saw with the Metallic 2.0 and the 1.0. But what do you think about this? Have you picked up this Prime? Are you into Primes? Are you into Magic Square's Prime? Do you like Takara's the most? Or are you still sticking with MP10? Like, subscribe to Dear Hanger out.
One shall stand, one shall fall.